Hello, I'm Dr. Heavenly Montgomery. I'm your digital mentor teacher. I'm so excited to share instructional strategies with my fellow educators. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into assessment types, 13 to be exact. And we're going to investigate what they look like, and I'll give you some examples of each. So let's get started. Don't forget, please like this video right now, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can watch more videos that will help your instructional practice. There are so many ways students are assessed. Let's focus our lens on 13. There are 13 inspired assessment types that we're going to uncover in this episode. The number 1 is formative assessment, 2, summative assessment, 3, diagnostic assessment, 4, benchmark assessment, 5, performance-based assessment, 6, criterion referenced assessment, 7, norm referenced assessment, 8, ipsative assessment, 9, screening assessment, 10, authentic assessment, 11, aptitude assessment, 12, gamified assessment, and 13, scenario-based assessment. Now, this is a lot, but don't get overwhelmed. We're going to unpack this one step at a time. Educational researchers agree that formative assessment has the biggest impact on student achievement. This is because this is the actual instruction and checking for understanding that the teacher is doing throughout the school day. Think of formative assessment as a way for you as a teacher to check in during a lesson. This might be through asking questions, quizzes, a quick activity, just walking around and getting the feel of what your students know in the classroom from their understanding working in collaborative groups.
When you just talk about practice, we sitting here, I supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
Well, Coach,
Listen, we talking about practice, not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
Yes, the formative assessment process might be considered practice. We're seeing how they're doing in a situation of practice. When we get to the summative assessment, we're looking at what they know at the end of the unit, at the end of the semester. This is the big game. So if formative is practice, summative is the game. When you think about diagnostic assessment, think about the root of the word, diagnosis. We're trying to figure out what the student needs in order to master this standard or master this skill. So it's taking the student's temperature so you can design your instruction around their learning. Now, benchmark assessments are a little different. They can be used to see what kind of progress a student is having along the learning continuum throughout the school year. This also helps school leaders decide if they need to make adjustments to the master schedule or groups so that students can get what they need if the whole or the large percentage of the school is falling behind. Performance-based assessments are one of my favorites. You will need a rubric to give to the student at the beginning so they'll know what the expectation is to show their mastery of the standard with a project-based, performance-based assessment. So I'll make sure that I post a video on making rubrics in the future, but we have to learn how to make rubrics and have standards of the way teachers agree upon the grading, called inter-rater reliability. States usually use these criterion referenced assessments to determine if teachers and schools and districts got their students to show their mastery of the skills and materials that are taught in the state standards or in the Common Core curriculum. Criterion reference assessments are essential pieces because most districts and states have to follow guidelines set by the federal government to get their Title I funds for to assist with student learning and support of student learning. And that evidence is shown from proficiency on criterion reference assessments. It has come to pass that most districts and most states also have to have some indicators that they report publicly to show how the school is doing and a process in place to support schools that need more support, that are receiving funding, or to applaud schools that are doing the right things. Norm reference assessments are standardized tests that compare students to their peers. They compare them to their peers by grade level, skills, and not necessarily by the standards they've been taught. So they would say, what should a grade 1 student know at this time of this year? And let's see how they are compared with their peers in first grade. We use a bell curve when we show data for norm reference assessments. And when you get into the data portion of my videos, you'll understand that way of reporting student achievement. An ipsative assessment shows someone's progress over time. A portfolio that gathers student work throughout the year to show their progress so that you can compare the beginning to the end. So that's an example of an ipsative assessment. Universal screeners are a great assessment tool that have been added to the assessment array for the last few years. A screening assessment lets you know where a student is and where a teacher might give extra support. It can even help school leaders decide if they need a support class for students who are struggling with reading or math so they can get their gaps filled in one period, and in the next period, they can stay on the standards mastery level of their peers. Authentic assessment allows students to apply their knowledge to situations in the real world. You know, as a student, I often ask my teachers, what am I going to do with this when I get out of school? Well, this gives teachers an opportunity to take the standards and show students how they can use these skills in life. An aptitude assessment is a way to find out your strengths, what you were successful in, and what areas you might need to improve in or you're weak in. So these aptitudes might apply to what you do for a career. It might help students narrow down on career choices or pathways to those careers. The assessments make learning fun while still challenging. Now, some assessments have an overlapping effect. For instance, gamified assessment. Gamified assessments connect learning into a game. So you are tested on the aptitudes through gaming. An example that I can use is a race car driver who was chosen because he had an aptitude in a race car game, and then he was groomed and selected because of that aptitude, and now he is a champion professional race car driver. Another example that is not so lofty is the aptitude assessments we were talking about. Those career aptitude assessments they use to help students choose which college they may go to or which career pathway they may take often have games inside and are gamified so that they can play something to make sure that the system picks up strengths that might apply to a certain career pathway. A scenario-based assessment will put students in a real-life situation. For instance, they might role play that the governor has called and he wants them to save the habitats of animals in your state. This kind of assessment gives kids an opportunity to work out real-world problems in real-life scenarios. I hope you learned a lot from our exploration of 13 different kinds of assessments. Now, we're going to explore this a little more deeply in our next video. We're going to talk about assessment that is used for learning, assessment as learning, and assessments of learning. You can dig a little bit deeper into the topic. If you want to know more, just click on the comments below and leave a comment and let me know what my next lesson should include if you still need more information. We'll also talk about 6 ways assessment impacts student learning. How can I make that happen? So if you need more support with assessment, we do live webinars, and you can request what kind of webinar you would like for me to focus on next time. I would love to come to your school and lead professional learning. If you are a principal, district, or school leader, please let me know and I will send your school a proposal. You can tell me about what the problem of practice is, and we'll get to work helping your teachers. So excited that you're going to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can see when I'm publishing something next time. And don't forget, I give out freebies to people who join our mailing list. So check that area in the More and then About section, and you'll see the links to free downloads. And as always, stay inspired.